I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite
podcast
on the Citadel.
You are listening to Accidentally Casual, the gaming podcast for those with a nerdy appetite. My name is Minius of Minius GC, and with me is Tucker from Talking About Games.
Hi.
Scott is out this week. He's lost in a pocket dimension, but we're still going to go.
Yeah, and speaking of appetite, I quite literally had one bite left of my ravioli.
Did you finish it?
I have one bite left of my ravioli.
Finish it right now. Finish it right now.
Yeah, I'll save it for later. I'll save it for after the
No,
podcast.
save it for the middle of the podcast when I ask you a question. That's what's going to happen.
Well, it'll be like
That's what's going to happen.
Ponder. It'll give me time to ponder some of those philosophical questions.
That's great radio. Sitting there with silence and pondering. That's exactly what makes this podcast great. I have a feeling that every once in a while, let Tucker really wants to talk about something. So later in the show, the second half of the show, I don't know, second, third, depends on how long we go. We're going to talk about the MCU, specifically WandaVision spoilers, so that's going to be at the end.
Yeah.
I feel like Scott didn't show up just because it's something he wanted to talk about. And he knows it's going to be dangerous.
Wait.
And then he left me hanging out here with just you, and you're going to start talking about weird theories you didn't even make up on the spot.
Oh, no.
And
Oh,
we're gonna
man.
have to deal with it.
Trust me. WandaVision theories, I was on board with those. I was one of those people.
We're saving the WandaVision segment to the end of the show so you can watch that at your leisure.
And also if you want to skip spoilers or anything, that's why we're putting it at the end.
We'll pretty much. I have a feeling we'll spoil every single Marvel property.
Yeah, but we're putting it at the end just so, like, if someone doesn't care for it much or hasn't seen it.
Yeah, that's more along the lines. What you had a formula for how long it takes till you can spoil something, and I try to never spoil something.
Yeah, for me it's like two or 3 weeks after the movie or show has come out, and for games it's 2 months.
Yeah, it depends because this has almost exclusively been a gaming podcast, but it's really a nerd podcast. And we dug into that. So this is somewhat of a departure, but not really. I mean, most of the people in here probably are at least somewhat interested.
Oh, well, I mean,
and if you want to talk to other like people, we have a Discord community.
Yeah, I was going to say that that is where we have decent conversations about it. We have a channel about movies and TV shows, and we'll kind of I'm going to add a spoiler one, so we can have like a spoiler chat for people who are watching it right then. As well as also something that you may be seeing with the background right now, the podcast photos. Another thing we have in the Discord channel are people can submit photos that they may want or that they may feel would fit as background stuff. And people are kind of sending in gameplay or in-game screenshots from Mass Effect to Cyberpunk. There's Anthem, things like that. So, let's do that.
Yeah, that will happen eventually. I'm slowly moving through. I'm trying to learn 4 different software programs at once, and it's messing me up. I got to stop and learn one at a time.
I thought you said you had Adobe.
Yeah, and there are a bunch. It's a package with a bunch of different stuff.
Oh, is it?
So I'm trying to learn like Illustrator and InDesign, and the toughest one is Audible. Do they call it Audible? Because there's another program called Audible.
Yeah, that's the
that's the service.
thing.
Hold on.
To which
it's definitely not Audacity.
I actually was using Audible this week, and I finished the 7th Harry Potter book as well as the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
So you re-got those on Audible? You already had it, right?
Yeah. Well, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea was free on Audible. I don't know if it was just free in general or it was just that week, but I was like, hey, all right. So I bipped that.
All right, second one. It's basically like a string of 50, but the audio one is the harder one. I had a harder time working. Audition. That's why.
Okay.
It's called Audition, not Audible or Audacity. God damn it. They're all audio things. That's not clever anymore. It's just fucking with me. All right, so we did something this weekend, by the way, this last weekend.
We did. And it was actually kind of successful. You are not an optimistic person.
No, I wanted to test it, which was perfectly right because we were not ready to go. Because could not get the audio to work, and it took us a while. So I didn't want to promote it and
I would say that
not
we were
have it
ready.
start on time.
We just fell into a hitch that we weren't expecting. Like we did have it.
I was fully
set up.
expecting it. It took us an hour to get it going, Tucker.
Yeah, but just because it took us an hour doesn't mean we weren't ready. We were expecting an issue, but we were like ready to go. We weren't delayed much or anything like that. Like you and I just trying to figure out the audio issue.
The more important part is people showed up anyway.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna do is like twice a month, start with streaming some Mass Effect multiplayer. In essence, it's going to be like a semi-podcast, but live with visuals to Mass Effect multiplayer, which is
with us
usually
playing
just
the game.
Tucker dying a lot on bronze.
Well,
he burned all his self-revives and has no more.
I have not played the game in a while, and when I was initially figuring out the controls, I hit all parts of the D-pad, seeing what would happen with that, and not like forgetting that those
I mean, you did burn all your revives. You had to do that intentionally.
Oh, well, I meant I burned all the whatever was on like the right. It was like not ammo. It was something else, but it went
Shield
from like
boost probably on the right.
Yeah, but it went from like 4 to 0, and I was like, well, shit.
You're like, what is this doing? I can't tell. I'm gonna keep on hitting the button.
Yeah.
Well, one of the reasons you kept on dying is you were playing the Human Vanguard. And specifically the male Human Vanguard, I remember this playing. If there was ever a male Human Vanguard in our group, that guy was going to die a lot. Because they just didn't know how to use the character.
It's like I was born for this.
That biotic charge sends you off across the map, which is awesome. But then you're by yourself, and no one can get to you, and you're going to die.
Yeah.
Anyway, the next time we are going to broadcast is going to be the 20th, I think.
Sure.
That's what we're going for. If you have a time that works best for you, this is the comment section for it. Next week on the show, we'll give an official starting time, and then we'll try to do this more regularly. So check out the comment section for that.
Yeah, and I'm thinking of just kind of doing streaming stuff
sometime,
in general.
Yeah, in the afternoon or evening Western time or West Coast time in the United States. It's not Western time. There's actually a Western time. There's too many time zones, man. It makes sense, but there's too many.
Yeah, but you're the fan of the time zones.
I'm not really. We had the daylight savings time. I hate that. I hate that.
Well,
I hate it.
It's
just 1 hour. It messes me up every year.
And then some places don't do it. Like Arizona doesn't do any.
Good for them.
There's another state, right? It's not just Arizona. There's another.
Yeah, I'm sure there is.
But what was the?
I know one thing about
daylight?
time zones. Like China is enormous. They have one time zone.
What was the reasoning for daylight savings? It
had to do, I believe, with World War I and coal consumption, and they were trying to conserve it.
Yeah,
so
that
most
makes
people were
sense.
using that to heat their homes. So if the daylight was longer, people heated it less, and they saved coal. I believe that's it.
It does make sense that the reasoning be some sort of conservation.
Yeah, it's no longer an issue. So whatever.
Because I also heard things that it was like farming was schools. Why schools in the South start at different times than schools up north in America?
Really?
Or just in other places as well. Yeah.
When did they start in the South?
In the South, they start at around August or a bit earlier.
Okay. That's what you meant.
And then I think the schools up north start later.
They used to. Now they just kind of go year round. Whatever.
Oh yeah, because when I did like lower school, middle school up in the north, and then did high school and such in the south.
Okay, so this week on the show, I mean, there's a game coming out at the beginning of next month that is a Mass Effect-like game. So it's something that we're going to talk about on the show called Outriders, which we talked about a couple times.
Yeah, a little bit.
Once again, another reason why Scott's not on the show, I'm sure.
He didn't play the demo.
You know who's interested in playing these? Like BioFan's excited to play it. I was like, wow, all right.
Is he?
Yeah. It's an interesting. I mean, like the problem is it's not catching the attention in the way it hoped, and they put out a demo, and the demo gets mixed. Like there's mixed feelings to it. Some people really like it, and I see some people say it's bad, which I don't fully understand. I don't think it's bad at all. It does feel kind of old school, in the way like kind of some third person shooter mechanics that are old school cover based shooter.
Yeah, I was getting a Gears of War kind of vibe from how the camera was following
I think
the player.
It's a real strength, really, that it feels like that.
Oh yeah,
But
it feels
if it's not for you, it's not for you.
It feels like a tight version of that, like a more defined, a crisp version of that.
It's got abilities to it, so it's a little bit like you described it when you played it. Didn't know what it was, as a cross between Gears of War and Mass Effect 3, which is a pretty good later. It's also got some Diablo in it. I've
never really played Diablo much.
Yeah, I mean, in the same way that the AI works similar and the loot system works similar, the key thing to it is that it's designed to have specific endgame builds and make you, try to move your character and level up your character and spec into a specific attack style, which is way more interesting than a lot of the games I think. But one thing that's very important, this game was not getting any hype at all. Really wasn't. And the demo didn't do it, and so something huge happened a couple days ago.
Yeah, and it just, again, shows why Xbox is superior to PlayStation. Sony.
See, now that's not true, because PlayStation has better third-person story-driven games.
Well...
fits more people with Mass Effect fans,
count?
Right? What?
How does Bethesda count? Does Bethesda count as a third party now, or is that first party because Microsoft owns
does
them?
Bethesda do any third-person games?
Third party. Right?
I said third-person.
Oh, third person? Well, yes. Fallout, Skyrim.
Fallout is first-person.
And third? Same
Did they
thing
move
with
it to third-person? That's right, they did.
And Skyrim. And the Elder Scrolls.
But those are designed to be first-person games.
And third.
No. They're way better first-person because they're designed that way. Whenever you do first and third-person, even if it's a shooter, the third-person mechanics never really work.
GTA.
They're just a little bit off. Yeah, but that was designed as a third-person game, and they added first-person.
That is fair. What about Red Dead? Red Dead, I would say they designed it more with the first person in mind, with all of those unique animations, especially how you grab things individually, how you can't really see that much from the third part if you're in first person. However, that game is much better, I would say, in third person. And I've been playing a lot of Red Dead 2.
Every year, Sony comes out with an absolute must-play third-person story-based game.
Sure.
Every single year, so that's why I go there. But
they
right
have
now,
a single game.
If you're a gamer that's low on cash, the best value by far is going to Xbox.
Absolutely. Game Pass
because of this Game Pass. I have no idea how they make money with Game Pass. And it makes no sense to me at all.
And then get ready for xCloud to be a part of Game Pass, when you can start streaming it, kind of like what Stadia was trying to do.
Yeah, I don't care for streaming games.
Well, if you can play
I never want to do that.
Horizon 4 on your phone and 4K, 60 frames per second.
Why would I want to play on my phone?
You're on a bus, the train.
I'm on a bus? How?
Well,
why would I do that?
Well, so that just sounds like your personal example then. I mean,
it does, doesn't it?
Yeah. But there are some people that ride the train or the bus for half an hour.
Playing action games on my phone.
Well, Forza is a racing game.
They have those controller setups where you put your phone on like a stand on top of your like an Xbox controller or something.
Yep. As well
that
as
I might consider.
xCloud, the plan for it is to.
This is dangerous. We had a topic set up. I don't care about xCloud. I want to talk about Game Pass and how they can't make money with it.
Well, I mean, this is going to be another part of the thing of like they are like. Do you think? I don't think Microsoft is moving away from consoles. But it
think,
seems like they are.
Let me clarify my statement. There's a way they're going to make money with this because they have to. It's such a good deal, though, that I become extremely suspicious.
Especially when you can join Game Pass for a month for $1. When they have deals like that, if you've ever...
that one, I understand that concept, because almost every single service that's reoccurring will have an introductory price that's ridiculously good.
Well, yeah,
and they assume you're going to forget about that you have it as on a subscription.
Giving
and then
access
they rebill you.
To about... At this point... There's about 250 games on Game Pass, and that's including all... They just added all the Bethesda games, like Fallout and Doom, the Elder Scrolls, including Morrowind and Oblivion, Prey, all of those are on there. And EA Access is on there, too.
There are 2 points I want to get to today, specifically that Bethesda thing.
And it counts as gold, which is Xbox's multiplayer.
How much money did they pay for Bethesda?
I don't know.
It's at least $7 billion. How many people are subscribed to Game Pass right now? It's a significant amount.
I would say pretty much every person who has gold or some sort of like multiplayer thing with that on Xbox probably has Game Pass. Or I would say a majority, probably 80%. I would estimate.
Okay, here's the...
Maybe 70. And yeah, it was 7.5 billion.
It's nowhere near that high according to the official total.
My
15
optimism.
million. Or now there's a new total of 18 million. This is as of January of this year.
As of January. Well,
so 18 million. What's the maximum amount you can pay? Not the deal price, but the maximum amount you can pay.
$15 a month is, I think, the...
But I'm assuming, not many people are doing that, right?
No, and there are deals that you can get, and there's...
Is it normally $50 a month?
15.
15, okay, I heard 50.
Oh, no.
All right, so
15.
let's do 15 times 18. That's $270 million a year in revenue. It sounds good, right?
Yeah. They bought Bethesda for $7.5 billion.
So $7.5 billion for Bethesda. How many years at that profit would it take them to pay that off? Let's give them $300 million a year in revenue. 25 years. That makes no sense to me. Why would you acquire Bethesda and put out their games automatically on a service like that? It just doesn't make sense to me.
I think because you make more money with it, with the
it doesn't sound like it at all.
Service for $60 buying one game. If you play that game for more than 4 months, then you're technically kind of paying like $75 for it.
No, I'm saying it's that when you look at it from a cost value standpoint, it's an amazing deal for the consumer. Just amazing.
It is.
It's too good.
I mean,
Tucker,
it has
this is
multi-service.
It
isn't just great for the consumer. It is also damaging to their competitor. It's difficult for Sony to compete against something with that, especially because Microsoft just said, I wasn't expecting them to do this, but they just said that the next Bethesda games, that they're only going to be where Game Pass is available.
Yeah, that was always going to happen. I don't know why anyone thought it was going to come to Sony.
Because Minecraft is still on PlayStation. They still allowed that. And
you paid that much money for it.
Well, I thought that they said they were going to still allow that.
No, that was all rumors. They just kept their mouth shut and let it go.
Taking the next Elder Scrolls away, as well as whatever the space one is. What's it called?
Starfield.
Starfield,
if we were to do a top 10, and we should do this at some point, top 10 most anticipated games for Mass Effect fans that are coming out, Starfield would be pretty high up there.
That might be an enjoyable topic. It doesn't have to be a top 10, but just looking up of games.
I don't think we could come up with 10.
I can.
But 10 good ones, sorry. You could easily come up with 10 because you put put something dumb as shit in there. And you're like, no Mass Effect fans don't want to play that.
Let me tell you about this upcoming game called Skatebird.
We're still on topic, Tucker. I'm going to cut you
game.
off. I'm going to cut you off, and we're going to go back to Game Pass because this is actually a good topic that you should want to talk about. So from that standpoint, we're both agreed that it's a ridiculously good deal, right?
Yeah. No, it's
so when there's a company that does that, I equate it to if you're a little kid and this dude pulls up in a van and offers you candy to get in it, I don't want to do that. So I'm like super suspicious of them, like super suspicious because I'm running the math numbers and it just doesn't make sense.
That Bill Gates is microchipping the Xboxes?
No, I don't believe he is at all. But I do believe Bill Gates isn't in charge of Microsoft anymore, and they're a company, and they run off profit.
I like how I think you missed the joke.
I don't care.
Damn it.
It wasn't a good joke either.
It was a good joke. Bill Gates is
bad joke.
He's
You're not good at jokes.
microchipping the Xboxes.
So, like, I suppose the only way they can make money in this is to they're trying to push Sony out of the market, right?
I mean, yeah.
At this point, if you're a gamer that has a limited amount of money, unless you are exclusive, unless you exclusively play third-person story-driven games, there isn't a good reason to go to Sony.
It seems like they're pushing Sony out. It seems like Microsoft is doing like multi-tier thing of they're pushing Sony out because Sony doesn't want to play with Microsoft.
First of all, they're not actually pushing Sony out. They're not successful at that yet. But they're trying
Xbox
to.
works with Nintendo, and you don't see them like bullying anything that Nintendo's doing while Nintendo's making consoles out of cardboard.
What do you mean they work with Nintendo?
They have been running deals with Nintendo, and they seem to have a very friendly relationship.
Crossover?
Well, that and also cross-platform was...
What's cross-platform?
Rocket League, Minecraft...
Rocket League came to PlayStation first.
Sure, but I'm talking about cross-play.
Like cross-play?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're friendlier with cross-play. I don't think Nintendo cares about that.
Well, that's part of the thing, is Nintendo, it doesn't bother them much. They're like, sure, yeah, we'll do cross-play. But PlayStation, they put their foot down about that. Same thing with backwards compatibility. They seem to put they
tried and failed basically.
Like, and I'm not meaning to harp a bit on it, but it seems kind of like the issue with Blockbuster, how they just kept putting their foot down with new things coming out, and it just kept causing more and more things to push them out. Sony's a bit more unique in the aspect that this is video game publishing, so it's kind of like an entertainment idea of it. But if Microsoft, because Microsoft also does PC, Sony doesn't do PC either. So
they started to now.
If look how late into the game that is.
Well, what they're going to do is they're going to come out with some of their major titles years after they come out on PlayStation.
But like Microsoft seems to have no quarrels with Nintendo. But if like Bethesda, people know at this point, okay, the next Elder Scrolls, I can't get it on PlayStation. So if right now how there's a shortage with consoles, they may not have gotten the next console. If they were hoping to get the next Bethesda game, well, that may take into a factor of which console they get. So Microsoft just cares about PlayStation not getting any attention, because Xbox will get attention either on PC or through Xbox or through xCloud when that starts being available on people's
honestly,
phones.
I'm tired
of
I don't know why you're so excited for stream. Like, it hasn't worked yet.
Because just because it hasn't worked yet doesn't mean we should give up on it.
People, every single time something comes out, people are excited for it. I'm like, it's not there yet, man.
Well, sure, when you keep having that until it happens. So you got to keep supporting it until it becomes success. Like, you got to keep supporting it. You got to be optimistic and happy with it. So Microsoft's Mesh. I don't know if you've seen that, but that looks insane.
I don't know what the fuck that is.
I support every single inch of Microsoft Mesh.
Okay, what the fuck is it?
So you remember Google Glass?
Okay.
It's kind of that, but there was some of that fear. Like, this seems to get rid of that fear of, these people could be secretly recording or something like that. These are kind of glasses, and they're kind of like a welder thing that you would put down in front. You would put these things down in front of the glasses, and it would then show an augmented reality thing. And there are some people, like in the advertisement thing that they were showing with it, you could plop those down and have virtual conversations with people, like fucking straight out of Star Wars.
I don't know why you think people wouldn't be concerned about them being recorded on that.
Because some of the issue with Google Glass was how it was like a little camera in the corner and stuff. This doesn't hide what it is at all, and it's like you have to click it down for it to activate. Like,
if you say so.
As well as also that might get rid of some of that the lawyer issue of because it shows where the when you can click the augmentation off and on of is that chair really there or is it an inch to the left and the person trips and falls and hurts themselves and sues. That might help fix that lawyer issue thing.
All right, I'm going to push us back on topic again.
Great. Like, it is...
Here's the initial point, flashpoint of the conversation. So Outriders is being published by Square Enix, not by Microsoft. So now...
it's published by Square Enix?
Yeah. Now that they're going...
Game Pass?
What?
And
yes, exactly. That's why this is such a big deal. So they have absolutely killed their sales on this. Just killed it.
They've killed Sony's sales with it.
No, they killed their own sales. Why the fuck would you buy this game on any platform now?
Well, it's boosting Game Pass's sales for it, which that's neat.
Square
Enix
what I'm
gets
saying,
its money
what
that
do you think
way.
happened? Did Microsoft cut them a fat check?
Absolutely.
Or did they just give up on it?
Nope, they probably cut them a fat check for it.
So that's another reason why I don't understand Game Pass, how they make money.
There's also part of the thing is that Microsoft can fund it because they, from my understanding, Sony isn't as profitable in their other things, in their other markets.
If you're talking any other business that Sony does, it's failing. All they got.
Okay, I wasn't 100% sure on that, so I wasn't.
Yeah, even like it's just not working because they're making more expensive versions of hardware. That's kind of what they do.
So while they
and
can
the
toss
quality of the other cheaper stuff is caught up to them.
So they're tossing their money at Sony because it's the successful thing for them, but it's to keep it being successful. While Microsoft has other successful venues, and they can toss that extra money towards Xbox to help it
to make money in the long term.
Yeah.
So here's how much do you think Outriders cost Square Enix?
I'd say more than $5.
No, to make.
Yeah, I'd say more than $5.
More than $5?
Yeah.
You're not even going to try?
Well, okay. So how much?
You're not even going to try, dude. You know what costs more than $5? Going outside.
That's not true.
I know, but sometimes, like if you're going to go to a place to eat, more than $5.
Well, I mean, I live in Seattle, so actually going out it may cost a little bit to breathe, but yeah.
What do you think along the lines of it costing? I don't know what the marketing is because they did do some marketing before Game Pass, and I'm assuming
I'd probably say $60 million, maybe.
And then how much for marketing?
About the same, maybe.
So in order to recoup their funds, they need to make at least $120 million.
Sure.
So how much do you think Microsoft cut a check for $120 million for this game?
Let's see. Outrider raises $53 million to develop what? Autonomous truck technology. Oh, that's a different thing.
I'm sure it is. That's one of the problems the game has. It's called Outriders. It doesn't. I mean, that's not very interesting, right?
I don't think they cut them a check for $120 million, but
like, so where are their sales going to come from then if they don't get that? I'm assuming it's less than that too. I'm assuming that Square Enix decided they weren't going to make money on it, and then they went ahead and said, "Okay, we'll go on Game Pass day one." Going on Game Pass later makes a lot of sense for these games because they've already got their main sales push out, and then they're just there. So Xbox will cut them a check, and they'll be able to get more revenue after their games are. It's kind of like movies coming to cable. But the day one stuff doesn't make sense to me.
I mean, all of Microsoft's IPs are available day one on
This is
Game
not a
Pass.
Microsoft IP, though, is what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
I know, but
That's the point.
There are other games that have launched day one on Game Pass.
But were they supposed AAA games?
Potentially. We could look through the list, but that might be...
Go ahead and look through the list while I talk.
Haha.
I mean, if you are going through the list, so I'm thinking if they're on Game Pass, I mean, I'm gonna be one of the few people who actually buy it on PlayStation, because I talk with my friends all the time on PlayStation Chat and play games on PlayStation, so I kind of have to be there. And I'm not real happy about this, but also might means that this game could be coming to PlayStation Plus day one.
Also,
we'll see.
Undertale is coming to Game Pass.
Not what I asked for.
Yeah, I know, but that's like, have you played Undertale?
I'm not interested in Undertale.
It's interesting that it's coming to console because it has a very much
holy shit, Tucker.
Come on. No.
We had such a good subject going and you can't stay on topic. Why not?
Undertale is beloved.
This is a topic you like.
Because
it's
Game Pass.
Why?
Yeah, it is on topic. It's Game Pass. It's Undertale. And I can tell you, I can assure you.
How do you hold a conversation with anyone? You don't, do you?
Well, I mean, my dog doesn't mind it too much. So, Undertale. A lot of people really, really like the game. So, it coming to console, it does
like Tucker look this thing up and he's not going to do it anymore. He's just going to talk.
Well, I wanted to just do a little quick thing about Undertale. How it's interesting of how it...
like a semi-understanding, and you're like, I'm going to do that, and you
I'm
changed your mind. It took you 10 seconons to give up. It took you 10 seconds to give up.
I didn't give up. I'm just talking about a game while I'm still looking through the other games.
All right, I'll let you talk for a little bit. I'm going to stop paying attention, though.
Fair. I mean, I don't pay attention much when I talk either. But so Undertale is a game that has some sort, like, I think you open up some of the actual game files to have to solve some of the puzzles, or it has actual, like, overlaying messages from your computer that has to be interacted, or the ways that you mess with saves. So it's really interesting of how it's coming to Xbox, of how is that mechanic going to translate? Like, I just have no idea. It'll be interesting.
I'm trying to have a conversation with you, but it's just not working.
What do you mean?
I mean, we like I said, we went over it, and you don't know, so it doesn't matter. All right, I assume you didn't look anything up.
I'm looking through there's 200 something games on the list. I'm looking through them to see if there are other first not IP games, but AAA games that were day one. But there's 200 games, and Undertale was
you have to look up the date that it came out on it too, right?
Well, I'm just looking. I mean, I recognize the games, and I wouldn't recognize because like Ori stuff. Those are Microsoft IPs, so those don't count. But I see all these other AAA games, but I don't remember any of those being a day one on Game Pass. But like Control is added on Game Pass, but it wasn't there day one.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense to go on a subscription service with stuff later.
World War Z, I think, was day one on Game Pass, but I don't think that is a
triple A. How do you define triple A again? Because I know we define it differently.
Triple A was like the amount of budgeting and like the amount of budgeting, amount of advertisement.
I always equated it to the way a blockbuster movie is a blockbuster movie. A triple A is a blockbuster video game.
Yeah, well,
right? No, that's
kind of
my understanding of it.
Yeah, it kind of goes in with how much
like a big budget monster.
Also, the Kingdom Hearts games are on Game Pass, which threw me off too. I didn't even know those were on Xbox. I knew the third one was, but all of the Kingdom Hearts games are now on Xbox.
I think you're not going to find a day one thing.
No, I'm scrolling
because it's just
through.
A day one non-Xbox. Like I said,
I mean, all the day ones are IPs.
With Square Enix is they looked at their projections, and they were going to come up short. So Microsoft wrote them a big enough check to recoup what they're doing. There are advantages to them doing this. Like, for instance, I imagine a lot of people are going to play this game that wouldn't have before.
Oh,
So that's something.
would you count... so all of Destiny 2's DLC are available day one for Game Pass users?
That's fairly recent, right?
The past few DLCs have been like that, but would you count that? Because the Destiny is a live service game, so it isn't like a Destiny 3, but
Yeah,
the DLCs are
I
meant
don't
to be
know.
major expansions.
That blurs the line somewhere. That's close, though.
And because that's also not a first-party thing.
It's also not a $60 game,
Well, yeah.
although those DLCs are pretty expensive.
And expansive. You just change one of those vowels around and got another descriptive word.
Either way, as far as benefits going for the Outriders, it is possible that because more people are going to play this. I mean, for instance, you're probably going to play this now. At least a little bit.
there's a much higher chance now because
And-
I wasn't
and
sure
you
about
wouldn't have
buying
before, probably.
it. Well, yeah,
Well, it's a money issue, right? I mean, like
Yeah,
if you've got
I
a
mean,
limited
that-
amount of money to buy games,
Yeah, that's
you only want to
absolutely-
buy the games that you really, really, really want to play.
yeah. I mean,
So if
that's
more people
absolutely-
play it and enough people enjoy it, the IP will, it might continue, and that investment might come back there. That's the only thing I can think makes sense for them.
There are 530 games on Game Pass.
Okay.
Gee, and it includes Xbox One, Xbox 360, and original Xbox games like Fusion Frenzy. That's on Game Pass. Did you ever play that game?
I don't play Xbox games, man.
Well, I didn't know if you ever played Fusion Frenzy. Like that was.
I don't
big
have
party
Xboxes
game.
generally. Like
Well,
when
you
we
may have
played,
had a
we
friend
streamed
that-
Xbox. I had to find it and plug it in.
Sure, but that's a game from like 2001. So maybe you had a friend back there that you played
Nope.
it with.
Nobody had Xboxes back then.
Well, except for everyone that bought it enough for it to become a major console.
It really didn't. I mean, was it a major console right off the bat?
Yeah, because of Halo.
Yeah, it took Halo, right? And
They say that if Halo, without Halo, the Xbox wouldn't have survived. All the other day one titles for Xbox weren't the greatest. I think the only other
usually
day
day one
one
titles
game
aren't.
I may have enjoyed was Blood Wake, but I don't think that was a day one. But I enjoyed that game. It was like a boat fighting game. But it was Halo was the one that people were buying Xboxes specifically to play Halo because they would have so much fun with their friends, and then there would be LAN parties. And then Xbox 360
Xbox
being,
360 killed it.
well,
Yeah,
and
absolutely
the
killed it.
introduction of Live as
Yeah.
well.
Like
With,
live services.
But that was the original
like
Xbox.
connecting the internet to the.
But that was the original Xbox. Was
I
Xbox
understand
Live.
that, but it didn't really take off till 360.
What do you
Much
mean?
better value.
It was Halo 2, and that was Battlefront. And
Definitely didn't take off. I mean, if you were in there,
it took off with Halo 2. It was a major
wait,
success.
what was Halo 2 on?
The original Xbox, which
Okay.
is why the Master Chief Collection was such a big deal, because that Halo 2 was the only game not playable on the Xbox 360 unless you were running. I think you could run like a CD of it on like an original.
I
version of
suppose
the
I'm
360.
sticking with my circle of friends who were playing video games before you were allowed
And that's
to.
fair.
So like no one gave a shit about Xbox till the 360.
Nah, the
And
Xbox
that's me looking in a very narrow window apparently.
Now the Xbox was.
I mean,
was-
definitely. Should we look at the sales numbers again? I don't want you to look up sales
Sure.
numbers because you're going to distract yourself.
I
Anyway, we're going to
am-
continue to
yes.
follow Game Pass, and I have I'm really, really, really fascinated by the business behind entertainment.
Yeah.
So, like we mentioned, like for instance, video games potential in entertainment dollars is just enormous, like absolutely enormous.
I mean,
You
they
wanna
do
look at,
also cost more. Like buying a movie ticket isn't as much as buying a game. And then also people don't I don't know much about this. I don't really buy DVDs that much anymore.
The movie industry is changing significantly, so that's going
with
through a
streaming
transition
services.
point. But the one thing like you can do, for instance, Epic Games was just kind of a company. Then they came out with Fortnite, and they're literally taking on major companies with lawsuits now. Oof. And they're going after Steam with a new product. They're going after Apple directly. I don't know if they're going to be successful in either of those, but the point is that that's like
they are rambunctious.
That's changing, but they got so much money from Fortnite that literally changed their company fundamentally.
I didn't
which is
know
the
much
potential.
About that. I always saw Epic as kind of a bigger company, but that's also because I was doing things with the Unreal Engine.
They weren't capable of suing Apple.
Sure, but they also
that's bonkers.
I mean, I was kind of focusing with them because of the Unreal Engine, as well as they were partnered with my college. So we would sometimes have people from Epic or just Unreal specifically coming to the college to do talks or things like that. So Epic was a company that was always on my mind. I didn't know that.
That was a local company, right? I mean, that's basically what you're saying.
Quote unquote local. They're on the east side.
Regional.
They're in Georgia.
Southeast, right?
Yeah, I think they're in Georgia.
I thought they
Atlanta,
were in one of the Carolinas.
Maybe. Or I may be confusing them with High Res, because that's another company that I was looking at when I was on the East Coast. And talking also with streaming services, there was a quick thing that Disney doing their $30 to buy a movie while you're already paying for their streaming services. It's like, nah, I'm not a fan of that.
I don't think that succeeded.
Well, they tried that with Mulan, and Mulan itself just wasn't a good movie, so that was a double whammy. And they're trying it now with the Raw. What's the new one?
What if
Rawa
they tried that with an
Last
MCU
Dragon?
movie? Would that work?
I mean, they theoretically. Well, Black Widow is coming out after Falcon and Winter Soldier, and we should get into that conversation.
Well, we got to finish something up first, but
so they do have a specific release date for Black Widow.
All right, before I let you go off on that, let's
which is May 7th.
Yeah, we'll do some of the first act of the show. What else do we need to talk about before we get into the MCU?
Do you want to do the obscure character with this, or
I will do it before that. I had a question that was written in to accidentallycasual@gmail.com where you can go to write questions. Dave writes in, should we play the Legendary Edition day one or wait for a week or two for a patch?
I'm assuming the day one patch for the Legendary Edition should be fine enough.
It should cover it, right?
Yeah.
Can they really afford to come out with something that doesn't quite work on the first day?
I mean,
especially for a remaster,
but,
man.
Well, let me introduce you again to the MCC, which was so bad that it is, as a way to apologize, they entirely remastered, not entirely remastered, but they upscaled ODST and Halo Reach and put those into MCC, as well as fully remastered like another multiplayer map. As an apology for how bad MCC's launch was.
I get what Dave is saying because the last two BioWare games haven't run great out of the box. But they were also forced out for a financial year, and this one hasn't been. I'm
also trying to think of what wouldn't be working much with the game, because I can imagine that a lot of the bugs will be fixed.
For the most part, it's just an upscale of what they've already got.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
so most of the stuff's okay, unless they make some serious changes, which it doesn't sound like.
Doing anything can cause a bug. Doing nothing can cause a bug. Honestly.
Really?
Oh my god, yeah. There are times where you could just hit play and something in the code some line of code gets skipped over for some unknown reason, and when you close it and relaunch it, and then the bug goes and you did nothing different. It's just there's GTA 5. Its load times are insane. Rockstar just paid
I saw that.
modder who cut down the load times, and what it was just changing a JSON file.
I don't know what that is, but
it's a text-based text kind of file.
Okay.
It was reading every line individually, and that's such a minute, small kind of thing that like people were like, "Oh, how could these developers that paid so much? How could they not find it?" Because they wouldn't know to look there. They wouldn't know that is what was causing the issue, because they know it slowed it down, but they don't know what is causing it.
What was the increase in load time speed? Do you know?
I think they cut it down by like 70%.
No way.
It's massive. It's only PC.
They only gave that guy $10,000?
I don't know how much they paid.
It said $10,000 in the article. I mean, it could have been a better deal than that.
And maybe a position, but
oh yeah.
I don't know. If
I could see that being worth a lot to someone.
Well, I don't know if they gave him one. I'm just tossing it out there. But I do know some companies will do that. That they'll hire modders or stuff like that from their community. I think Bethesda has done that a few times with some Skyrim modders. I know Bungie did that with Destiny. There was a modder who was a young person he was hired on. Yeah. It happens sometimes.
All right, we're going to jump from that, although I'm actually looking at trying to find you a job at Intrepid Studios. That's why I was silent, looking at like, okay, that's the studio. If anyone from Intrepid Studios is working, I want Tucker to work there, so I have an in. I'm going to bring this up a lot. No one knows what I'm talking about. That's fine. So this week's Obscure Mass Effect Character of the Week, which is a weekly segment. How many times can I fit week in there? Comes to us from Jacob. It's Charn, the Batarian Slaver.
Don't come any closer. We can do this the hard way, or we can end this peacefully.
I didn't think you Batarians knew the meaning of the word.
Charn?
He has an extremely minor part in the Mass Effect 1 DLC. Second straight Mass Effect 1 DLC character. It's kind of interesting. A lot of these characters that we have, you have an option to kill them. They all seem to have that in common.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is a shooter game.
So there are a lot of shooter games, but I mean, you usually don't have that many optional characters. Here's a question. When you have an option to kill a character, how often do you kill them, and how often do you let them live?
Depends on the game, depends on the mood.
I almost always let them live because I assume there's going to be more story with them coming forward.
I mean,
and I regret doing it sometimes because they could be like, Charn was like, oh, I was just trying to take slaves. I didn't want to like commit genocide. Although I don't know if it qualifies as genocide if you only take out one planet in a multi-planet species. Is that genocide? We shouldn't get into that.
Well, there's a thing that's like, 5 deaths is a tragedy, but 500,000 is a statistic.
It's one is a tragedy, a million is a statistic.
Yeah, something like that.
Weird Joseph Stalin. Anyway, the point being that like he's still a bad dude, and I probably would have killed him in real life, but I left him there because I wanted to see if there was more story, and there was no story for him. That's all. He never comes back.
I thought there was a... Oh, no, wait. There's a different character.
His boss, Balak, if you let him live, he comes back.
In Mass Effect 3.
Yeah.
Not in the second one.
Same DLC. I assume, because when you're talking to Charn, you say, I'm going to kill Balak for sure. He's like, you better kill him or I'm dead.
So he's dead either way.
So I assume that either you kill... Like if... I assume Balak got him, but they never say that anywhere, I believe.
Okay, well,
anyway, Charn the Batarian Slaver. If you have a character you want to nominate, I have a bunch loaded up with a bunch of nominations, but add yourself to the list.
But
accidentallycasual@gmail.com.
It does depend on the game. Like with Mass Effect, I typically play... Like, I try not to kill people if I don't need to, or something like that. But like the D&D session that I was just in right before the podcast, we just like attacked a bandit camp, took out the leader, and people just kind of surrendered. And we were talking with them. It's like, oh, you got like these guys were forced, and like that guy just kind of joined. They're like, yeah, he just joined, so I just shot him. Like they surrendered, everything like that, and they're like, okay, you guys were forced to be bandits, but he just joined. It's like, yep, all right, shoot him.
I think there is a Mass Effect. Like one of the Asari who joined the Eclipse. She pretends like, oh, they forced me to do stuff I didn't want to do it, but she was like super into it.
Yeah, shoot him. Don't trust that.
Isn't she was one of the only ones though that like you like really felt like you made a mistake if you didn't blast her.
Well, yeah, you're supposed to feel bad, probably, but
like I would assume like you'd want that to be more common. You're like, oh, I let this guy live. You're like, oh, you probably shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Although I think never mind. There's another.
If Star Trek has taught us anything, it's like, never keep the people alive. They just they if they're kept alive, then they're just angry and they come back.
Well, yeah, that's why Batman is always busy because he keeps everyone alive. I'm like, oh, they got out of jail again. Oh my God, how did that happen?
Yeah, because that's the whole thing, if
like,
you killed him, you become a killer too. But then there's that thing of, but if you kill 100 of them,
like, oh man, Joker's out again? Oh, he murdered another 5,000 people? Shoot.
That seems to be I get that is a thing for Batman of like, don't kill, but they really focus on that. Like the Injustice games has Damian killing Zaz, and like Batman freaks out over that, and the Red Hood movie. He cares
more than other characters.
It's interesting, and
I
get that is part of his.
There are a number like Spider-Man won't kill, but they never focus on that. Well, nowhere near as much, at least.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think there are times where Spider-Man's killed.
Yeah, but he doesn't do it on purpose. Like he'll try to save him and fail or something.
I think there are times where Spider-Man has killed, but it's like devastated him. It was like a difficult.
I'll have to look into that, but this does tie in. We are going to start talking MCU spoilers.
Yes.
So we've gone through our major thing. Check us out next week when maybe Scott will be back, and then we'll be able to stay on topic. Whenever it's just the two of us, it doesn't work.
Yeah, well, I finished my ravioli, so.
Oh, my God. All right, so this is one of those MCU. Tucker keeps on talking about how he wants to talk about this, and I've actually been following the MCU since day one. So,
and
since before day one, because I got an early access to Iron Man.
Ooh, fancy.
Yeah, but, I was not expecting that to be good, and then the theater just lit up. It's one of my favorite theater moments when Sam Jackson popped on at the end of that movie.
Not many people were expecting, and that's part of why MCU was able to be so successful, because they had that slow build, because they weren't expecting this to go well. Now the DCEU and all them tried to go in trying to already open up a big world.
They made more than one mistake in that.
Oh yeah. Well, that, and there's also the Dark World, which was the movie monster one.
I don't think that ever had a shot. I don't think anyone cared.
I mean, I'm a fan of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Okay.
But
like, did you care if the Mummy was connected to something else, like to Dracula?
No, and that's another thing too. Like, not everything needs to be connected.
I mean, like the whole thing behind the comic team-ups is that there are team-ups.
Yeah, that's part of the enjoyment.
Like, one of the reasons, I mean, like, you can have another character show up.
Yeah.
And, like, do you really care if Dracula's fighting alongside whatever fictional mummy character?
Although, King Kong versus Godzilla is going to be absolutely insane.
Okay, yeah, that one doesn't interest me in the slightest, but that's...
Bullshit.
No, it really doesn't.
That
like, but looks... I don't care.
Oh, do you just not have fun?
I just went over a bunch of stuff I have fun with.
That is true. That movie,
but like monster movies don't do it for me. So,
I mean, this is a big monkey fighting a lizard for like 90 minutes. How can that? It's a.
I don't know, man. I just like, all right. I don't need 90 minutes of
lizard.
that.
So cool.
I used to watch a lot of movies, and I'm just not as interested anymore.
It's also like a good like popcorn kind of movie or something.
Yeah,
just to
that's
kinda...
more along the lines of like, would I rather continue playing the video game I'm playing or go see that? And it's hands down, I always would rather continue the video game.
Oh, I do both at the same time. I'm playing a video game and I'm usually like watching a movie.
Yeah, which is why you die so much during our stream, right?
No, I try to focus on one thing at a time when there's something like that going on. But
Okay.
if I'm doing something like Forza or any of those open,
Isn't it
kind of games like that,
Forza?
sure. I will listen to a podcast or watch a movie or something like that.
All right, so you wanted me to watch WandaVision
Yes.
really bad. I was going to watch it eventually. I like watching, these are coming out weekly. I've decided I'm no longer going to watch TV shows weekly because I'm tired of cliffhangers and waiting, and it works for them. I tried to watch The Mandalorian weekly when it first came out, and I'm like, no, I'm done.
But you
I'm
can
not
see
doing
how WandaVision, how it was like kind of doing a weekly thing.
Yeah, you can see that. I don't feel like the entertainment value is as high, but I can see from a standpoint of them releasing it weekly how it would increase anticipation.
That's
and then
part of
get
the
more people
enjoyment.
going back in.
That is admittedly definitely part of the enjoyment is after watching an episode because like the West Coast is best coast. When those TV shows, they come out Friday, and when they say Friday, it means like when it is midnight Friday on the West Coast, it is out. So 3 a.m. on the East Coast. So Thursday nights, I would watch the episode when it airs at midnight, and then jump to the subreddit and go through the theories and the jokes, and like that was part of the enjoyment, is that weekly buildup of that.
Yeah, I don't like waiting. So I like watching complete stories, basically.
What were your thoughts on so my initial theory with it was her going through the different stages of grief.
I kind of feel like everyone knew that already, though.
Yeah, well, yeah, but just like because that's like a focus of stuff of just things that I do in my own life.
Yeah, I mean, like it was pretty obvious that. I mean, if you know the character at least,
yeah.
Wanda Maximoff, crazy powerful. I think they pretty much established her as the most powerful character that they've introduced so far in the universe, basically.
Yeah, they said that she was stronger than the Sorcerer Supreme, or Agatha did.
And would have killed Thanos one-on-one.
Probably.
And no, they just outright, I mean, like, I know Kevin Feige said that after the movie, but they outright said it in WandaVision.
Yeah, I mean, in that scene,
Like,
Wanda
she
was
had him.
ripping him.
Yeah, she had him, and then he, like, used spaceships to not make it a one-on-one battle.
And
So
I mean,
crazy powerful, reality altering, and yeah. So I figure like everyone knew that coming into this.
You saw how Agatha was reacting to Wanda's powers, and she's like, "I've had to train for hundreds of years, and you're just doing this on a whim." Like,
I don't know enough about the character because
of Agatha Harkness?
No, Wanda, like the origin of her powers, because they've changed it a couple times. I mean, like literally, like I mean, so
I think what it is there's a chaos god Cthulhu who is in the Darkhold. So
is that the current thing?
Yes. And
because it used to be she was just a mutant, and she's
well. Yeah, I think
and that's all. That's all it was required.
Originally, she was a mutant that was from
Magneto's penis.
Magnetos, yes.
Yeah,
and
which I miss, by the way. I really, really miss that in that character.
You miss his penis?
I miss her being like the spawn of Magneto.
Oh,
it gives her extra like that was the core of her. Actually, when she was introduced in the 1960s, at the same time as Magneto. They didn't reveal her as his daughter then, but it was same concept of being under his thumb and being associated with him. That was her entire early run with the Avengers, is that she was, the daughter of a supervillain trying to work with them.
The way I've been viewing the MCU, which I feels like has been kind of helpful in the way that they're changing some of the stuff, is that it is its own universe. That it is taking characters and similar themes, but it's doing its own thing with it. It is kind of changing little bits around.
Which I like, but they actually changed her origins in the comics, too.
Yeah,
based on the
Cthulhu,
MCU, which
the
really
Chaos
bothered
God. When he was being like sent back to a realm or something like that, he reached out and touched Wanda when she was a baby and left his mark on her, which imbued her with the Chaos power.
I'm saying that they undid her being Magneto's daughter.
Yeah, something like that.
That's what, like, because specifically of the movies, which was not a huge fan of. But anyway.
But and she has the Darkhold now. Did you see both of the after credit scenes?
Yes, and they didn't do a good job of those because there's just too much credits on the end.
Those credits were so long. They were like you'd see an episode. It's like 30 minutes long. You're like, yeah, this will be great. It ends at minute 21, and there's 9 minutes of credits. You're like, wait, what?
They do, like, they have every single voice actor that dubbed in their voice from every language in the world, right? Something
like that.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons it takes so long.
But
so they got like the animated credits and then the word credits. Anyway, yeah, the end scenes don't work as well.
She has the Darkhold book, which is going to lead into Doctor Strange 2. Because she is going to be in that, as well as, I think, Nightmare.
I think she is always better when she's alongside people in the MCU. Which is one of the reasons why I wasn't as interested in this one.
Although I thought her the acting of Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen.
He usually kills it.
Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany, both of them killed it. All acting perfectly from all those different decades, passing through each one and just making all of them work, while still portraying as Wanda and Vision throughout. Phenomenal. And the CGI, too. Like, the visuals, there were some moments where it was not the greatest, but for a TV show, I've never seen CG.
I think they said they're matching the budget of movies,
which is just nuts. It was great. And
I'm glad you really, really liked it. I kind of liked it. I liked it enough.
There are so many small things I loved of it. Like the first episode, how the CGI, when they were doing the magic in the world, how you could tell it was on string.
I don't think that was actually CGI, man.
No, it was on string. And stuff.
Yeah,
there's a behind
that's not CGI, though.
No, I know. There's a behind the scenes. They put that out last week. What they do is new episodes all the way through. And then when the final episode comes out, the week after is a behind the scenes episode. And then the week after that one comes the next thing.
But you were aware what CGI means, right?
Yeah, computer generated.
Okay, so if it's literally on a string, that's not the computer.
Oh, I know, but but that is how they did magic tricks and such back then.
Yeah, in the 50s. That's how the shows would have looked.
Is that they kept that in with it. And with the behind-the-scenes video, they show them actually setting up the wires for that and how they did it. And in that same episode, they have Vision doing a tracheotomy on the guy that's choking, who we never see him again. After that episode, we never once ever see that character again.
I thought he was in the background in a couple of them.
No, he's never in the background ever again. What happened to him? I don't know. He's gone. All the other characters are there, but he's gone.
Maybe he actually choked to death in that scene.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. But that looked like realistic. See, like what we expect with today's CGI, and I loved that separation. And they actually filmed it in front of a live audience. And they had Dick Van Dyke. They sat
That
down,
I
they
knew,
talked
yeah.
with him a bit about it.
He had no clue what the MCU was,
Which is fair.
which is
but-
funny.
But I just thought that
Like,
was
he
like...
just really didn't care. I mean, like, about modern movies, which is fine. I mean, he's an old guy, right? I mean, like,
But when you're seeing things like that, when the fact that they had the live studio audience, they built the set exactly like how they built them back then, like, that just shows not only are they making something that is I'm excited for about a comic book movie or something like that, but they are just as passionate and as excited about this that, like, they are doing the smallest details. Like, the fact that Agatha's anniversary is the first day of the Salem witch trials, and all of these different, like, little hints and nods throughout, like, it's so great. And that's part of another thing too. I love just going through the subreddit of, oh, did anyone notice the detail that Agatha says that she has a weird mole on her body? And a mole is how they used to distinguish a witch. That was the devil's mark, was having a mole on your body.
she's a much older character than I realized.
Oh, she's
Like,
she's old.
She's been in the MCU for a while. I never have gotten into magic in comics, and I don't know why.
In the comics, she is old enough to have watched Atlantis sink. And I think
Is that
she
the
said she
official,
was
like-
500 when she saw Atlantis sink or something like that.
She's an old lady in that too, at least the ones I saw.
In the comics, she
Yeah.
is much older than
Like, she looks old, too,
Catherine Hahn.
Yeah.
And Catherine Hahn
Catherine
also
Hahn looks
killed
like
it.
a witch anyway. I was like, that's like perfect casting for that.
Gosh, she was so
She was having
good
so
in
much
that
fun
role.
with that role.
And did you like the
Maybe-
Agatha All Along song?
I don't remember that now, even though
Where
I just
it
saw
was
it.
Agatha all along, where she
Oh,
killed
yeah.
Sparky. And, oh,
You really, really like stuff, man. Like,
yeah.
I
Well,
feel like you
mean,
liked this more than it was good, but
Well-
that's you with literally every single subject.
Well, because I can really enjoy the things I like, or the other option is not.
Future show topic, things that Tucker doesn't like.
Well,
I'm legitimately curious. No, future show topic.
Nazism.
Back to the MCU. That'll
Okay.
work.
Although I could very excitedly talk about historical facts.
Okay, but that's not what we're.
But, well, or Red Skull. It's
Red
just,
Skull's like completely done, right?
I mean, the Soul Stone. I think he still guarding the Soul Stone after. Yeah, so
It's
Captain
unclear.
America.
It's
Captain America
unclear
brought the
where
Soul Stone back to
basically
him.
everyone is in the MCU because the timeline fractured like crazy.
But how the
so-
fuck was that conversation between Captain America returning
I'm
the Soul Stone?
I'm super bummed we didn't get to see that. I really wanted to see that.
I mean, that's been a big joke with that, but yeah, no, that's a thing of it. But
I mean, it makes complete sense that wasn't in the movie because the movie was over and they're just extending it with stuff.
It was done at that point. But I mean, there's an upcoming one is Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and it's bringing in Zemo is coming in, and it looks like they're setting up. What's the Marvel's version of Suicide Squad? Where it's
I feel like I should know that and I don't. And
it's going to be run by General Ross, who they're theorizing he'll be the Red Hulk.
is that actually happening or is that just a theory? Because there's so many freaking theories out there.
A strong theory.
Okay.
One that's
Well, I
almost
mean, they're-
damn near confirmed is the other Spider-Man coming in for Spider-Man 3.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire.
I feel like that's going to be less interesting in reality than it sounds. But
What do you mean? It's essentially
No,
Spider-Verse.
I'm saying
and,
it's going to be. It's just not going to work as well as people think.
Doc
that's
Ock
my
is
guess.
reprising his role, and who also
Alfred
Catherine-
Molina is old now, isn't he?
I don't know, but Catherine Hahn also voiced the female Doc Ock in Spider-Verse. That was Catherine Hahn.
Okay. I
She's
just don't
killing
know
it
The connection of
She was Agatha.
I know. I
WandaVision.
understand that. You're just a squirrel braining. That's like not as interesting as you think.
I think it's interesting that
You
they're
think
both.
everything's interesting.
Catherine Hahn had me fall in love with two characters without me even realizing she was both of those characters. Agatha is just has pizzazz. Like Thanos is a big bad guy, but she has spectacle. Like,
Do you think she comes back in any of the movies?
absolutely. She's probably going to come back in
Actually-
Doctor Strange too. She has to.
What's more interesting for the future of these characters? Is it
Her coming
Is it
back.
doing a TV show or is it just going to the movies? Because I'm less interested in the TV shows significantly than I am in the movies. And I don't think TV shows is the way to really
I think
call it.
I think it is
Right?
because
You would call it a TV show, not a streaming show.
yeah, because it's still television. But
Is it?
To me, the TV shows seem like ways to flesh out side characters. Like it's Wanda
Potentially,
and
yeah.
Vision, and then Falcon and Winter Soldier. There's a TV show for Hawkeye, and his daughter is going to be in it. The setting up of kind of the Young Avengers. There's the
Potentially.
TV no, that's what it is.
Did it say that though? Setting up the
that
Young
there's
Avengers?
I mean, they
See,
have.
that's what I'm
all
saying.
of the
You're going with theories again. You might be right.
But the Hawkeye show is happening.
I know that. I have the
and-
list of things that are
Confirmed.
announced and confirmed, and it's very long.
Oh yes, and there is a new
14
Marvel thing every week.
There are 14 confirmed projects and 4 untitled date claims that they have.
Yeah,
So like 17 total. Although the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 will take up one of those 4 date claims they don't have.
and there's also a Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special coming out.
Is they actually confirm that, or they?
Yeah, no, it's confirmed, 100% confirmed. It's going
I don't know
to
if I wanna
essentially be a
watch that.
prequel to Guardians 3.
Why do people in space care about Christmas?
I think it's going to be kind of a bit of a riff with the Star Wars Christmas special. And there's also
Okay.
a Groot TV show. As
That
well.
has not been confirmed.
Yes, it has. It is
No,
called I Am Groot.
It has not been confirmed. I checked. I literally looked all this stuff up.
What do you mean? It has been. It absolutely has been.
Official?
Yeah. It.
Send link or it didn't happen. I'm tired of reading articles where they're like, theory confirms this thing, and you're like, this is a theory. Theories don't confirm shit.
This is. I want to make sure it's the right. Here it is. Boop boop. Want to make sure it's the right chat. Yeah, it's called I Am Groot.
That does look official.
What? It's Disney official tweet.
That doesn't mean it's real, though. I mean, like, I haven't heard anyone talk about that. What, you don't think they do that for fun?
Yes,
you
I
don't-
think Disney's really kicking it out here with the jokes, saying the original special is coming to Disney Plus in 2022. Emoji symbol, everyone. I think they're really
I don't
hollering
know,
and
man.
hooting with that one.
They're going to, like, a lot of these characters, I don't think can hold stuff, man.
Well,
but
it could be.
It's
It
works
seems
all
like
the
it
time.
could be a kid's show. Like, think of it. Like, what is
Yeah.
that? Well, like, why
don't
it doesn't
know.
have to be an adult thing? Because this
I know.
could be a thing for kids. Like,
I'm just
I would
wondering
love
at
if they
what-
brought Pet Avengers.
At what point am I not going to watch the MCU anymore? Which is interesting, given how much
Fair. That
I've
is
followed
fair.
them. When they keep on, like, the characters that they list off, they get less and less interesting to me, which makes sense because you use your best characters first.
And well,
And
I
at
mean,
some point, things are gonna
they didn't
fizzle out, like
they didn't
like-
use their best characters first. Iron Man wasn't really a big character when
He was in the comics,
well, yes,
and he
but
wasn't at first, but they did. He became the main character in the comics before
After
they put out before
the-
they put him out in the movie.
Well-
he was a mainstay. Things revolved around Iron Man. That was
Well,
before the. I mean, he wasn't recognized from the people who didn't read the comics, but he was the main guy.
Well, what I'm meaning more is like Captain America was a bigger person with the comics. That some of those characters were smaller, like Guardians of the Galaxy as well. That they were not as well known, but they just were able to make it work. They had the right people on it.
I know. I just at some point it's not going to work, right?
Yeah.
Right?
No, I mean, eventually it has to. But yeah.
Out of all the projects they have listed, I'm really only excited for 3 of them, I guess.
And that's fair, but...
And this is out of 14. Now, it doesn't mean I'm not going to enjoy them, because I actually enjoyed WandaVision.
But also my guess
have watched
is...
it for a while if you didn't make me.
If you just watch the movies, you'll probably be fine.
No, I won't be able to do that.
Well, we will be able to see, because...
I know, but I'll have to watch the stuff before
Doctor
it comes out.
Strange 2... They said that WandaVision ties directly into Doctor Strange 2, so we'll see how much it will influence it.
They wrote WandaVision before, and apparently the script for Doctor Strange, which I think you should use the full title of the movie because it's awesome.
Multiverse of Madness.
Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. He's in it.
Yeah.
That's a cool title.
They think it's going to spin off into the Spider-Man 3, having all those different Spider-Men and...
That also, they're out within 3 months of each other?
Maybe. I mean, again, there's a new thing every week.
Well, Spider-Man's a different thing because it is owned by Sony, so it's on whatever timetable Sony feels like.
That Spider-Man 3 is Christmas Day, I think?
I have December 17th.
Oh, okay. But, I'm
like, out of all the movies, I mean, I'm always been a big Spider-Man fan since I was a little kid. And the last Thor movie killed it. And that Doctor Strange movie sounds awesome. And the other ones, I'm like, probably Guardians of the Galaxy 3, but that's pretty far out. And the rest of these are just...
is going to be really fun.
It could be.
Shang-Chi's going to be incredible.
It could be.
Oh, no, it will be. It is Marvel's version of Enter the Dragon.
That doesn't mean it's going to be good, though, but...
It's going to be fabulous. It has Fing Fang Foom in it.
Well, they're going to try with the Mandalorian in that, basically.
Yeah, the actual Mandalorian.
The Mandalorian.
Mandarin, yeah. But,
Jesus Christ, that's bad. It's bad nerd talk.
Phase 4 was supposed to start differently. It was supposed to start with Black Widow and then go into Falcon and the Winter Soldier and then go differently. It wasn't supposed to start with WandaVision. So, with WandaVision, there are theories of Mephisto appearing or Nightmare because Wanda
I'm a little surprised they didn't go bigger than they did.
Yeah,
honestly.
and part of the idea is that there was a rewrite. A cut scene, though, is that in the final episode, the kids and Ralph and I enjoyed a decent amount of WandaVision, except for the Ralph boner thing. Him being a different person is fine, but they just made a boner joke out of it, and it's like, well, okay. But it was him, the 2 kids, and Monica were going to go down into Agatha's basement to try to get the Darkhold book to see if they could stop Agatha, and Senior Scratchy was going to turn into a demon to stop them. That was a cut scene.
Okay.
So
a demon, just a regular demon, or one of the characters?
Like not a named demon, but some sort of protection thing of the Darkhold.
That's not as interesting as I thought you were going to get to.
But that would have shown demons and stuff. That would have been a bit of a bigger thing.
I mean, what would you consider Dormammu a demon?
No. Is he considered a demon?
I'm just
because I wouldn't consider him.
I feel like he's very demony.
Because when I'm thinking demon, there's Nightmare, Mephisto, Cthulhu, like them. I think isn't it Dormammu a celestial? Not celestial. In Eternal.
I don't know enough about the character because I'm not as up on Doctor Strange as almost every other character in the MCU.
Because I don't think he's a demon.
The things I saw him, he was like portrayed as a demon. But then again, like there are so many iterations of these characters that
I don't know the specific, like, because I know that there are Eternals and Celestials and like all that different stuff, and I don't know what's.
All right, so here's a question I want to ask you because eventually this will work towards a new big bad, hopefully. Who would you want as the next?
It's probably going to be Kang the Conqueror because of Loki
that would make the most sense, right?
Yeah.
Because
and also,
especially because of the split timeline things, they broke some shit.
Yeah, and there's also some people are pointing out that the big bad doesn't need to be initially started. That Thanos wasn't really pointed at until the Avengers. That the first Iron Man didn't have anything of Thanos.
Only thing that Iron Man teased was the Avengers.
Yeah.
And then the Avengers teased Thanos. And then you go from there.
And so, like, on the very first thing of Phase 4, like, people are thinking, like, oh, Mephisto could be the big bad. And it's like, that he could be, but maybe he'll be introduced in Doctor Strange? But
they could do something else?
Yeah, but it does feel like Kang is who, especially because they've
is he big
confirmed.
and bad enough? That's my question.
Absolutely.
You sure?
Yeah, he's while Thanos wants to like snap half the universe, Kang wants to conquer all of time and space. Like he goes back and forward through time and different
Well, I mean, there are
universes.
characters that want to do stuff, but they're not interesting enough to captivate, like 10 years of entertainment.
I think you'll be.
They're just like, there aren't a whole bunch of characters who could really do that anyway.
Also, they can have multiple big bads, I think, at this point, that there doesn't just need to be a singular Thanos, that there can be a Kang and start having a Galactus or having a different character that other people may be fighting, or like the X-Men may be fighting a different big bad while the Avengers and stuff are dealing with someone.
There are no official X-Men plans yet. Official.
Yeah, they
that
were
doesn't
hoping
mean they're
for
not
that.
already working on it and planning it out.
They were hoping for that with WandaVision. I was hoping for that too, especially because they had the kids, and then Quicksilver showed up for a bit.
So here's the question then that I want to get you. Is that who you would want as a big bad, or is that just who you think is going to be the big bad?
I don't mind it. I am.
I mean, not minding it. Who would you want though? Like,
I would
who would
like
excite you the
Galactus,
most?
just because I think that'd be kind of fun. Because the last time Galactus got gypped, and having Galactus would also include the Silver Surfer, who is he's just cool.
They just kind of threw that out there.
Well, the Silver Surfer is the herald of Galactus.
Let me rank the guys that I want to see, and I don't know if they're big enough or not, but I want to see them do Doom really bad.
Oh, Dr. Doom?
Yeah,
they're absolutely doing.
I understand that, but I would want him to take like a. I know there's lots of rumors. I would want him to be the guy. That would be my number one choice.
The rumor is he might appear in Black Panther 2.
Which also isn't on this list. Which makes sense.
Well, yeah, because of the recent news. That kind of makes sense with that. They've said that they aren't recasting.
Yeah, they just give the mantle to someone else, right?
Yeah, and and that's actually maybe kind of what the focus of Black Panther 2 is.
Probably. Which
might bring in Namor and the Atlanteans if Black Panther has fallen.
I'm not sure if that's too dorky or not.
What do you mean? I mean, they've already
worked, right?
They've hinted towards Namor in Endgame when they've talked about the underground.
You know
earthquakes.
what? The writers confirmed that was unintentional.
Bullshit.
I believe them because they said a whole bunch of stuff that they probably shouldn't have said. So. But yeah, no, they could easily go back and say that was intentional.
Yeah, but I think Chadwick Boseman's last thing of the Black Panther will be in the What If episode, where it's animated. So all he did was just record the lines.
Well, to see that, not 100% sure what they're doing with that, but we'll see. So you didn't want to answer my question of who you want as the big bad?
Kang, Galactus, Doom would be fun. Doom
Actually,
would be
you did
really
answer
fun.
it, and I just ignored you.
Yeah. And they've also, Kang has been casted as well.
Are you sure that he's officially? Because you.
And he's going to be in Ant-Man 3.
That's not a good villain for Ant-Man.
They are going into the quantum realm in it.
I don't care. I don't like that at all.
It is, the actor is Jonathan Majors.
All right, so he's not going to be a big bad then.
What do you mean?
That's not a big enough actor.
What do you
It's
mean?
It's not a big enough actor. Who the hell is that?
He doesn't need to be a big actor. He
course
just needs
he
to
does.
play the position well.
I don't believe that.
I mean,
they could have gotten
Marvel
gotten
can
anybody.
make people into names.
I'm just saying that's not big enough for a big bad. The name I saw out there that gets rumored the most is getting Christian Bale in there. And
he
that's
is
a
in
big name.
Thor 3, and I think
No, that's rumored. These are all rumors.
That's
Tucker.
confirmed. That's been.
No, it's not confirmed.
I think it is.
Yeah, there are a lot of people like rumor confirms, but they're all rumors still. He's rumored to have a multi-movie deal, which would be awesome. The character they have him slated for most often, I'm not as interested in. Although
Is the God
I don't
Killer?
know a lot about Gore the God
Gore
Butcher.
the God Killer or the God Butcher.
It's an awesome name for a character, though. Like flat out awesome name.
Yeah, Gore the God Butcher.
Gore the God Butcher, and you're like, dude, that's badass.
You're like, damn, dude.
And they're like he's gonna be an overarching villain, but nobody knows who he is. It doesn't mean it wouldn't work. I'm just saying. You will get way more excitement with an actual name villain. But now that you keep on saying these rumors are facts,
Yeah, no,
I'm less
Christian
confident
Bale
that
is confirmed as Gore the God Butcher in Thor 4. It is confirmed.
by who?
By the director.
Was it really?
Yes.
Am I that behind them? Or like, I guess they're slate there. I'm like, I used to be way up on this stuff, and I'm like not as interested anymore because they're
And that,
most of these
I mean,
movies.
with the pandemic did
everything I read was a rumor, not confirmed. So, like, I literally looked this up right before.
Well, I'm remembering Kevin Feige like standing and like saying this movie will be coming, and like that is where he announced Kang will be in Ant-Man 3 and who was in it, and like he had that face appear, and with that same place where he just stood there and like in 10 minutes announced 20
Oh, I
different
guess that
projects.
was in there. Yeah, I wish he was Doom. I'm bummed. I'm really bummed.
But hey, he could be coming later. They don't want to announce it yet. There's also Blade.
Well, no,
that's
I wish
coming.
Bale was Doom, is what I'm saying.
Oh, why? Why specifically that?
Because he would have killed it.
Do you know what
He
I
absolutely would have killed it.
I would love in the MCU, Keanu Reeves as Ghost Rider.
Okay.
I would love that because Keanu Reeves has his own motorcycle kind of stuff, so like he really knows it, and they get actors who really just like not only.
I'm not sure he could play a character that's a skull.
You don't think he could play Ghost Rider?
No, he doesn't have. That's not part of his like. His magnetism is usually his facial expressions, not his voice acting.
Because I'm just imagining like him kind of playing that role, like what he was in Cyberpunk or John Wick, or
right.
Some
But
sort of that,
that's more of like, dude, Keanu Reeves is fucking cool, and if he's a skull guy, I don't know.
I think he'd be a really
I'm
fun
so
Ghost
bummed
Rider.
About that Gore thing. I'm so bummed.
Why? I think it'd be
because I wanted him to be Doom so bad.
They'll probably get another person as Doom, and it'll be even
Not
better.
as good as that though.
It'll be fine. I think it'll be good. It'll be fine.
Yeah, you always say that, and it's only true half the time. So,
But when
I'm
it is
still
true,
bummed.
but the
I'm
half the times
bummed.
that it is true, it is correct.
I'm so bummed. All right.
So, Falcon and Winter Soldier is now coming up and I'm excited for that. Which looks to be a lot more action.
Yeah, I'm more interested in that than WandaVision, but I'm going to do my same thing where I don't watch it until afterwards.
Oof. To which, WandaVision, it was a nice kind of, like, going through the different sitcoms and stuff.
I mean, it was intentionally weird.
I loved Darcy.
Was. Yeah,
I loved Darcy and Wu in it.
Wu was the best character, John. That was by far the best character.
Did you notice he did the magic hand trick thing in the first Ant-Man? How Paul Rudd did that like hand magic trick to give the card to.
You're clearly way more up on this than I am with all the little like nods
with
and stuff.
John Woo, and then in the second Ant-Man, or not John Woo.
Yeah, John Woo is a director.
Jimmy,
isn't it Jimmy?
Jimmy Woo.
Damn it.
Yeah. Then in the second Ant-Man, there's like a little scene where a guy knocks on his door and enters, and he like flips these, like he drops these cards. He's trying to do a trick, and you can actually see on the computer he's trying to learn that card hand trick. And then in WandaVision, when he introduces himself to Monica, he whips his card out with like that sleight of hand trick where he just makes it appear in his hand. So like you can actually see that progression in it. Fucking nuts. I
didn't realize that was a real Marvel character. I thought it was just like Agent Coulson.
No. Well, I mean, Coulson's also...
No, I mean, like, but Coulson was in the, like, he came in the movies first. And then they added him later, but...
Did they? I thought Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. and stuff like that was already a thing with...
Yeah, but I don't think he was a guy.
Oh.
I'm quite confident in that, but apparently Jimmy Woo, a fictional secret agent that firstly appeared in the 1950s, man.
Yeah.
He predates Spider-Man. Like,
he's the real original detective.
God damn.
But no, it's like, and that's part of the thing that I love so much about Marvel are those tiny details like that really, it's either it's such a great attention to detail by the directors, or honestly, we the fans are so psychotic. But all
right, so rounding this out, we'll probably, like, if in the comment section, if you're at all interested in this, even if it's just a handful of you, we'll probably do one of these after every single MCU release. You cool with that?
Yes, absolutely.
So Falcon and the Winter Soldier is up next.
I was already planning on, like...
Literally comes out on Friday.
Yeah.
At midnight, so if you want to get going, then...
Going to be here with my popcorn. And if you want to talk about it after it comes out...
What are you looking forward to with that?
Specifically,
what are you hoping is going to happen?
Zemo. I'm excited with Zemo. I'm excited with the possibility of I'm trying to figure out what they are. The Suicide Squad people for Marvel.
See, now I don't feel like they've had interesting characters in
Thunderbolts.
Because...
The Thunderbolts.
Oh, the Thunderbolts. That's right.
Yes. I think the Thunderbolts are going to be created in Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Okay.
So that would be fun to see.
I guess so.
And so that, as well as, like, I really like the story and the weirdness with WandaVision stuff. And now Falcon and the Winter Soldier will scratch that itch of those Marvel action scenes and stuff.
Yeah,
have you seen some of those trailers?
We'll have to see. Like, so the one thing that makes me iffy about putting these into television shows is it's got the budget for some of this stuff, but it is spread out longer. So, like, there were parts of WandaVision that I thought really dragged. But I mean, you enjoyed most of them, but you enjoy everything.
Yeah.
So,
well,
I felt like
optimistic.
WandaVision could have been cut down by a couple episodes and been great, but the way that it's set, I mean, they got like an 8-episode at least frame, and they want to hit that because they're putting it out weekly. So I'm curious to see if it ends up dragging in spots, whether or not they have a whole episode where they just sit there and talk.
Well, like, there are people that were saying, like, I wish the first episode just didn't happen or something like that. But the first episode,
Yeah, you seem to I did not enjoy the first episode.
It is one of my favorite episodes because of the ground that it is creating and that it is presenting to the viewer. It is presenting.
They never really got into why it jumped a decade each time, right?
Well, it's Wanda changing it. It's her.
But like why she changed it specifically a decade.
It was just to fit the sitcoms that she watched.
Yeah, they made it sound like it was going to be more interesting than it ended up being.
Well, it was her way of not rationalizing, but trying to build this perfect world for herself because she watched these sitcoms as a kid. And they were these perfect families and all this happy...
I'm just curious as why it went in order specifically with decades, and I felt like that was leading to something, and I don't feel like it was. They could have done those in any order.
Oh, well, I think with that, it was to tell a linear story of that. And
Wouldn't it have been wackier for them to mix it up?
No, I felt like it makes sense.
You don't think so?
You
don't think if they dropped like a 50s episode in the middle, it wouldn't have worked better?
No, because the way that the characters even portray themselves, like women in the 50s would have to act very differently than women in the 90s.
Yeah, that's why the mixing it up would have been interesting. That's why.
And a way to see that with Wanda coming into her own and resolving her own grief, because she's the one that resolves her own grief as it goes up through time. That it's, more things were available with her to do that. If it was in the 50s,
I'm not. The 50s one couldn't have been the last one.
Yeah.
But like dropping that in the middle, I think would have worked better. Because in the beginning, it just. I mean, like I wasn't the only one who felt that way. It did drag.
I just really like the way that the first episode set the tone for this fictional world of how off it is. Like, it's supposed to feel off. It's supposed to feel weird and out of touch, and something is wrong.
Yeah, it was fine. It was just too long. That's what I'm saying.
Well, it's supposed to be an episode.
Yeah, which is the main concern I have with these. But then again, I mean, that's a personal preference thing.
Well, it also set up a lot of tiny things, like Vision's job, how he's starting to or how he was noticing, like he was asking questions of what they do, but
I always
never got an
answer. When they first said that, I just thought that he was making fun of sitcoms having no, like the people in sitcoms, their jobs that make no sense.
Yeah,
like or they didn't. I suppose they're doing a better job now.
It was a bit of both. The possibility of it.
All right, so far, if we're talking more about TV shows, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki, Hawkeye, Miss Marvel, all scheduled to come out this year. Whew.
Oh, yeah. And Shang-Chi, Black Widow, and Eternals.
Well, I was going to ask a specific question. Actually, what's the upcoming Marvel project you're most interested in? And we'll end our conversation with that.
Eternals or Shang-Chi?
Eternals, really?
Or actually, What If, but that one doesn't count.
Which one?
Eternal? What If.
Okay.
Just because
that's more of a... They're just going to have some fun with that, basically.
Yeah, that seems just like a fun...
Unless there's a villain messing with time, and that's the What If.
Well,
which I think would be more interesting than what it sounds.
I think it's Uto is...
Well, I'm just saying there's an overall arching villain that ends up working his or her way back into the MCU at some point. That's just literally like going in and just flicking with scenarios.
Jeffrey Wright will be the voice actor.
Okay.
I've
actually liked some of the what ifs in the comics.
And this one is going to be one what if episode for every Marvel thing that has happened. So like all 23 movies, there's going to be a what if episode for each one of those.
For every single one, really?
Yes.
That's too many.
Well, I mean, they're all they are just different scenarios. So like Captain America one.
I feel like that's too many.
Is the female Captain America, or she's Captain Britain?
Is it not Peggy Carter getting the powers?
It is
instead?
Peggy Carter. Yeah. She becomes Captain Britain. I think the Civil War one is going to be the zombie one, because they've shown a zombie Captain
People like
America.
Yeah.
And so I think the Civil War will be a what if instead of Iron Man versus Captain America, what if it was humans versus zombies of that. And there's the Chadwick Boseman one is what if T'Challa was picked up instead of Peter Quill as a kid.
Okay.
There's that one. It's
that one
either
seems weird.
he's either going to voice that one and or whatever Black Panther's is. I have zero idea. They haven't shown anything of that. Doctor Strange one looks so cool. He's like fighting this evil demon version of himself in the trailer. Looks insane.
Is that actually a comic?
The What If?
No, the him fighting a demon version of himself. That sounds like I feel like I've seen that before.
I mean, a sorcerer fighting a demon shadow version of himself? What? No.
Yeah, could be cool. It'll depend on how I do like animated stuff, so
Yeah.
it
And
doesn't always work depending on the style.
Will you watch that one per
No.
week? Because
No.
I mean that one.
But
doesn't even.
Tucker, I love sitting down and watching a whole bunch of stuff at once. It's so much more fun for me.
Also, I may have lied a little bit. First season is scheduled to consist of 10 episodes, and second season will be another 10 episodes.
Okay, so it's but eventually
But
they'll
they
get to
have
all of them. Is what you're saying?
yes, that is after creating 30 potential episode concepts. Yeah, so they're like.
All right, the last and I'll end it with this is what I was trying to do. So actually, you kind of answered the question already. Never mind.
Haha.
More Marvel talk coming up in 10 weeks. Does that sound right? 9 weeks, 10 weeks. We'll go in there.
I don't know how many episodes there. It depends on how many episodes of Falcon and Winter Soldier there are. But honestly, like, I have a few streaming services. I'm contemplating like cutting off Netflix, just because that's the one I've been using the least.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. Netflix was in a great spot, and now they're not
when they
because
started
everybody's peeling off their own IPs,
Dude,
which makes sense.
They came in the door. They kicked that down. They came in. They took out
It'll
Blockbuster.
depend on like
Netflix took out Blockbuster.
Like, will like Cowboy Bebop be any good? Will that kind of stuff be any good? That might determine whether or not you stay. But you don't really care about anime that much, right?
No, not too much. No.
The one thing I noticed with Netflix's shows, and I do want to wrap this up because we're at almost an hour 45.
Oh yeah, we are.
The like their stuff recently hasn't been great. There's been a lot of misses.
Oh, really?
So,
although like Netflix has had some good things, like Queen's Gambit.
they've had
was
some
really good.
excellent stuff.
But
they used to kill it every single time, and now they just it's a volume,
absolutely.
which might work more for some people.
It was Stranger Things, Orange is the New Black.
I have Paramount Plus, by the way, and I'm embarrassed that I got that, and I got it for soccer. So.
Oh.
All right.
Oh, also, this ties in.
Nope. This has been episode number
Game
30.
Pass-
Tucker, please let me take us out.
Okay.
This has been episode number 31 of the Accidentally Casual Gaming Podcast. Scott should be back with us next week. But if you want to check out more stuff, we've all got YouTube channels. They're in the description box. We're also all on Twitter. I'm at Minius GC. Tucker is at IP Tucker, and Scott is at BioWare B. If you want to chat with Accidentally Casual fans, there's a link to the Discord in the description box. If you want to reach me directly, tweet at me at Minius GC or at accidentallycasual@gmail.com, and we will be back next week.
Hey, you want to know a fun fact about the number 31?
Probably not.
So when I was a wee lad, the TV channels for Cartoon Network, Disney Channel, Nickelodeon was 31, 32, and 33. and I will forever have that ingrained in my brain.
Why do you think that's interesting?
I don't know. It's just kind of fun.
Okay.
A little nostalgia.
All right. I'm hitting the stop button.